Welcome one, welcome all to Respawning Fire, the kick-ass irreverent gaming podcast from Affable Idiots. I'm Alexander Kazina, aka Cozy Bear, in a rare instance as the host of a regular episode of Respawning Fire, just like getting a rare holographic Joker in Balatro. Have you ever heard of that game, Adam? Balatro?
Nope. Chad discovered it.
I think you would fucking love that game.
Yeah, I'm sure I would.
Yeah. Amazing game.
Interesting
Excellent
how we can talk
game.
before
well
being introduced,
worth of your
though.
time.
I don't like that.
Yeah, that's the kind of host I am.
Nah.
I allow people to
Restart.
talk freely.
Joel,
I don't
restart it.
restrict them whatsoever. Joel, I don't want you to restart anything. Keep this running. Keep this going. Joining me this evening is the man of the hour, Chad Michael Innes.
Hi, what hour is it? Well, it is now 5:01 p.m. and it is dark as a fucking butthole outside. Just kidding.
It's
not
so
quite.
dark.
It is
so
past
dark.
sunset, but it's in that, like, not quite dark. It's twilight. It's twilight outside.
Fall back into sunshine, baby. And joining me as well this evening is the man of the minute, Adam Gumbert.
I have joined the Vital God.
Cool. Don't know what that meant. And
well, you'll find out
joining
later.
me as well this evening is the man of the second, the man of the ones and twos, Joel Campos, who's making the show run wonderfully, which I'm so genuinely incredibly grateful for. How are you doing, Joel?
Doing good. I have not joined the Schvitel God.
Cool. Cool.
Join the Vital God with me.
I was concerned for a second you weren't going to say anything, and we were going to be like, I guess Joel doesn't exist this episode. Remember, as always, that new episodes of Respawning Fire stream live on both twitch.tv/Affable Idiots every Monday at 5:30 p.m. PST, which is 8:30 p.m. EST, and posted both podcast services and our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@RespawningFire every Wednesday. If you enjoy the show, please consider tossing us. Yes.
Can we just, like, I don't think we've actually said that out loud on a podcast yet. We do this on Mondays now.
No, we said that last week. Or last recording.
Y'all didn't do one last week.
No, but I'm saying the week before that we said we were going to do Mondays.
Okay.
Yeah,
we do it on Monday,
our
and
recording's
you get it on Wednesday now. Yay!
Yeah, our recordings got a bit messed up because beavers broke into everyone's houses and bit them in the eye. And so we were planning on doing an episode last week.
Which
would have been our first Monday recording.
But when I fought him off, he ran to my Ethernet cables and chewed through all of them.
Oh my God.
No, it wasn't the Ethernet cable. It was, you know what it was? It was one of those telephone poles because the beaver saw the telephone pole.
To annoy it.
He saw the telephone pole. It's like, oh, that looks like a nice looking tree. Bit through the tree, and there we are. So yeah, we were planning on doing it last time. Anyways, normally we did it in the past on Sundays. We now stream episodes live on Mondays on twitch.tv/Affable Idiots. Hooray! If you enjoy the show, please consider tossing a $1 or $2 our way on patreon.com/respawningfire. Patrons that subscribe with a single $1 or more get access to our special game show episodes a month early and the ability to vote on our next Barf game, which is a monthly book club podcast that we do. Speaking of which, a bit of housekeeping. Number one, Nick and Will of the Friday Night Gamecast joined us for our latest Patreon exclusive episode of Rafferty, which, as previously mentioned, you can get early on Patreon. Number two, we are fast approaching the end of the year, which means that in lieu of having you vote on a single Barf game for all of us to play in November, we're asking you, our audience, to go to vote on Game of the Year candidates, contenders that you think each of us still needs to play before the end of the year. Chad's poll recently finished with Dragon's Dogma and Animal Well in a tie, and we just decided on the podcast we recorded before this that he's going to go and play Animal Well. My poll also just ended, and unanimously you voted for me to play Black Myth Wukong, so I will be playing that. However, Adam's poll is still ongoing. He's asking you to vote between Thank Goodness You're Here, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, and Unicorn Overload. I made the same mistake
lineup
on the previous episode. Unicorn Overlord. His poll is going to be going on for the next 2 days, so make sure you vote on it when you get the chance to do so. Number three, speaking of Barf, we just reviewed our Barf game for the month of October, which is John Wick Hex. While you can go back and check out the review of that as a VOD on Twitch, I'd say that you are probably better off looking forward to said review going up on our YouTube channel very soon. And finally, Number 4, just a little bit of self-centered housekeeping here. With Kozver's Cooking Season 6 now finished, I'm excited to announce that I am going to be returning to the kitchen next month with the Cozy Bears Cooking Holiday Special, which is a 3-episode super special mini-series that will be starting on Wednesday, December 4th. There will be a proper Season 7 of Cozy Bears Cooking coming up at some point in the future, but not until 2025, so look forward to the holiday special until then. Whew, that was a lot of housekeeping.
Returning to the kitchen with Cozy. Returning to the kitchen. I know. Whoa. Sorry, ever since you said that, I had to say it.
But it's time for our main quest. Adam, take it away.
No, I can't read it. Everything that happened with Concord from Kat Bailey to IGN. Yes, Cozy's coasting, and I'm reading.
Real high energy. Real high energy.
I'm here for it. Let's get pumped. Sony is shutting Firewalk Studios.
Let's get pumped.
Boo. You're excited about shuttering Firewalk Studios?
One of the sadder stories to come out of the video game industry recently.
No, yeah. Firewalk Studios is being shuttered in the wake of its disastrous release of Concord, the PS5 shooter that lasted less than 2 weeks before being shut down. Firewalk Studios' closure follows the reported departure of director Ryan Ellis, who stepped down after Concord was taken offline. Herman Holst wrote in a publicly posted internal email that SIE had, quote, spent considerable time these past few months exploring all our options, end quote, but ultimately decided to sunset the studio, which it acquired in April of 2023. Concord. Initial development deal was around $200 million, according to a report by Kotaku, which also says that the $200 million was not enough to fund Concord's entire development, nor did it include the purchase of the Concord IP rights or Firewalk Studio itself. So that game cost over $200 million. 200 is the floor. It all points to Concord being seen as an ambitious project that was expected to attract a large audience. Instead, it launched to tepid reviews and low interest. One estimate suggested it only sold about 25,000 copies total.
Which were all refunded as well.
Yeah. Cozy, I'm done reading now.
Cool. Yeah, this sucks. I know we kind of came into it shot out of the cannon earlier, but yeah, I was somewhat hopeful, as much as it seemed unrealistic, that we could potentially get a slightly rejiggered version of Concord that would be free to play that I'd be able to check out. I never had any hate in my heart for Concord when it came out. I agreed with the criticism that it wasn't quite enough and its character designs were not the best you'd ever seen, but I was definitely intrigued by it and intrigued enough by it that had they made a free to play version, I might have checked it out. But I guess at that point, that dream is dead, basically.
I mean, yeah, not shocking. Like, if you spend that much money on a game that you have to shut down in 2 weeks, they're not going to spend more money to figure out to make it free to play and hope to recoup even more money at that point. It sucks because, again, by all accounts, the game is fine or whatever. It's okay. But that's just that sucks for all those people. But you can't make that kind of investment and then not make money. Like, I'm pretty sure, I haven't rechecked the numbers. This probably has to be the record number of layoffs this year in gaming, and it's just like, yeah, you can't not make money. Like, they don't have money in reserves to just throw money away on failed projects. So unfortunately, if your game doesn't hit, that'll happen. So you gotta, they're gonna start doubling down on things that they know will work, because that's the only way to not lose money, hopefully. And then hopefully the indie scene can stay around, and that 10 guys making a game can support those 10 guys, and they'll be cool. But I'm not shocked. I mean, it sucks, but not shocking, especially the whole 2 weeks and we're pulling it down. I'm like, oh, that game's never coming back. I had a feeling for that one. So rough.
This one definitely, another harsh truth is that even if they decided we want to put it back in some capacity or some way, the IP is tarnished because of this launch. And they also have to be thinking towards the future at all of the other live service games that they have coming up, first party wise, that they want to make sure they're like, if this isn't working, are we going to continue to pump money and time and resources into it, knowing that we're probably going to take a big hit on the other live service games as well? It's like, no, we gotta cut these and maybe even cut some of the ones coming up, so that we can rethink our strategy and rethink the kinds of things that we're investing in going forward, which, yeah, again, 100% sucks. I really hope they do something. I hope the Concord IP comes around. I know we're getting the Amazon Prime episode about it next month. But I hope that IP gets explored somehow. Whether it's I don't know, a trading card game or a fucking, I don't know, a whole TV show. Or, not that like I found it particularly interesting in the 2 cutscenes that I watched, but I'm like, there's a lot of thought that went into all of that shit and all of the lore that they were going to have available through the in-game director and all that kind of stuff. It's like, that could be useful somewhere. They can make something interesting out of it, even if it's not a live service video game.
I mean, unfortunately, this sort of thing is only going to happen if Sony suffers like a catastrophic breach of some sort. But I would love to see all the cutscenes that they had planned, that they had in the pipeline of various levels of completion that we know are out there somewhere, but probably are never going to be seen.
Daniel Dwyer no clip video restoring all that shit and showing it for the first time.
That's honestly the thing. Like between what you're describing, Chad, like a more conventional TV show and like a documentary series exploring like what went wrong in like a very sympathetic way towards the studio, like I would much rather take the latter. I think there's a really, tragic but interesting story to be told here. But we will certainly see if we get more information over the coming weeks, months, and years on exactly what happened here.
2 things. I bet 80% of those cutscenes were never made. Sony was like, let's see how the launch goes, and then we'll fund giving these houses more money to finish them. They're like, never mind. I don't know about 80%, but I'm sure a lot of those don't actually exist.
They probably had, just because
storyboards and shit.
Like cutscenes and animating takes a lot of time. Yeah. They probably had a couple months of content ready because they were going, release a 2 or 3 minute clip once a week? Was it
once a week? Did they even do that when the game came out, though?
I think they did do one. Like they had 3 total episodes, I think, out, which you could go back and watch on YouTube or something like that. Yeah. That might be the thing. Maybe they just release them all to YouTube where they had the archival
ones that are done.
Yeah. But that's, I have a feeling they had at least a couple months done or close to done, just because of the tail that it takes to create animated content.
Yeah. And then I bet all the other live service games are going to get funding cut, or they're going to be like, we need to figure something out. Because there's no way you look at this and then you're like, fair games, you're still getting your full budget. Like that, no way in hell that's happening. I'm even worried. God, I would say, Bungie already had a lot of layoffs. I would say be worried about Marathon, but I think Sony's like, Marathon needs to work. So I think that they're willing to push that one forward because Bungie's name's on it. But if you weren't a studio named Bungie making a multiplayer game for Sony, I wouldn't be worried until one of them hits. But then if it hits, then you're fine. So it is what it is.
I would not be surprised for Marathon to survive, but also to look perhaps substantially different when we finally see it again. I know that they originally said that like they were focusing exclusively on a multiplayer experience within the Marathon universe. I would not be surprised if they introduce like single player, like story adjacent elements, sort of like how Concord was ostensibly a multiplayer game, but it had like a lot of stuff that was like building towards this sort of unified lore that you can just enjoy on its own. But we'll see.
Maybe it just has to be good. I don't think it matters if there's, shoehorned single player content or not. If people don't care if the game's not good and they don't play it, it doesn't matter if they spent more money on single player content. But again, I think Bungie's name makes that one a better bet. But I'm like, legitimately, I wouldn't be shocked if we never saw fair games. Like legitimately. We'll see.
Yeah, possibly. Very sad. Speaking of Bungie, Chad, it's playtime. And you, my good sir, have been playing many games over the past couple of weeks, including a game set within one of Bungie's most prolific universes. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we talked about Halo as maybe the next thing after Gears of Wednesdays. So we didn't play it this week though, so I'm not quite sure what you're talking about.
What you're talking about? You're the one who put it in here.
But you're talking about Destiny. That's the Bungie thing that you're talking about. Okay.
Oh, hold on. I thought you were referencing your own list and not talking to Cozy.
In the show notes to make it as big as possible. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I played.
I got invited to. I got a special invitation. I got an email addressed directly to me saying, "Chad, we want you to come and try out Destiny Rising. You specifically. You're so pretty, and we just want all the pretty people's opinions.
Chad didn't even ask.
I didn't even know the game was around or existed or anything like that. They were just like, we want pretty people to come play this new mobile game. And so, yeah, I was like, of course, absolutely. Why not? It's Destiny. So this was, if anyone, to catch people up, this is the mobile game developed by NetEase in partnership with Bungie that is an alternate timeline version of the Destiny universe that happens kind of right after the collapse and when Guardians are kind of learning their skills and because they're not actually even called Guardians yet, but it's alternate timeline of events in there, and it's all on mobile. And so I played it for about an hour and a half. It was a closed alpha test, and I played it on my backbone because there's no way I'm going to play a game as complex as this on touchscreen controls. So I got my backbone and I booted it up on Saturday morning. I said, let's spend some time checking out this Destiny universe. And the game has some. First of all, it is a closed alpha, so there are things you have to forgive. Like, it right now kind of looked like a PS3 game. There are not a lot of textures that are, like, have proper shadows on them. The audio for a lot of things. Like, the gun audio sounds like fucking wood blocks and marbles falling on a snare drum and that kind of shit, not actually gunfire. And you'll be talking to a character and they might start talking with a human voiced line, and then a couple of lines that they say are AI generated, and then a couple of lines are voiced by a real human. So those are all things that they're like, they've acknowledged, in fact, the AI, they're like, these will all eventually be recorded by humans. These are just placeholders for now. So yes, there's a lot that you have to forgive in there, but the bones of the game, like, is the game fun? Does it feel like it's going to be engaging? Is there this gameplay loop? Are there these systems that you feel like you're going to want to come back to? Is there great lore in there that's deep? I would say the things that I got out of it that were really good, that were interesting to me, were like exploring some of the lore things around Destiny. Like, there's a character in there that's Radagast, who is like one of the original Iron Lords, where now the Iron Lords are all dead and gone in the current Destiny universe we're all playing in. You just see basically Lord Saladin is kind of what's left, and we learn about what happened to them through the Siva stuff. But so, like, having Radagast be like an actual character that is like your primary point of contact in the first thing, and learning about all of like how these powers are being developed and how these different races are coming to be and the feuds that are going on between them, like that is all intriguing to me, and I want to learn more. Unfortunately, everything else is not something that I want to be involved with. I think what people, even in the dark times of Destiny, the thing that Bungie gets a pass for, and the reason people keep continuing to play during the dark times, is because it feels so damn good to play. And Destiny Rising does not feel great. It's a weird feeling facsimile of Destiny combat. And I think that's even more exacerbated by the fact that around 90 minutes in is when I learned that you do not get to pick a Guardian, and like, there's not really build crafting, and you're investing in skills. Like, I want to do Void with this person now, and I'm going to equip this gun, and that's going to play off of this like unique perk of this particular skill. And it's not really that. It is very much so a kind of Genshin Impact thing. This is the only other touchstone I have for it. Where Genshin Impact, you open up loot boxes or packs of whatever, and you get characters that each have a set of skills, and they're randomized, and there are hundreds of them, and that's the route this game is taking. So yeah, it was about 90 minutes in, I got the splash screen that's like, you can draw your first character now that's not this person that you've been playing as, who was a very specific person named Wolf and had very specific skills that I didn't get to choose. But then they're like, you have a 1 in 60 chance of drawing a new character out of this. And then it showed me a splash screen with like 6 or 7 other people. I was like, oh, this is not, I don't want to have to build a fire team of like 4 or 5 different people that are all, they're not waifus in this one because they're Destiny, not Guardians yet, but Destiny people, but it's that same kind of feel. And it's like, I'm already not feeling really into the gameplay. I'm not already feeling like really into the voice acting that is there. Those characters feel flat. The character designs of everyone that's in there, I'm just like, you don't look like a person that I want to continue to engage with over and over. So yeah, I'm not into it. On top of the fact, like this was the thing I was looking forward to. Like if I really get into mobile gaming, I've never been into mobile gaming. A large barrier being because while I'm playing, I'm getting notifications, text messages from people that are taking up a third of the screen.
Because you talked about the feeling. You don't play mobile shooters, so you don't really know how it compares to mobile shooters because maybe it's actually competent, but you're just used to controller.
I've dabbled in a lot of them back when, the whole gaming industry thought, oh, mobile is going to become the next thing. There were a few right off the bat, like mobile first person shooters. I think
have you played like COD Mobile or PUBG Mobile or Fortnite Mobile, any of that stuff?
They have the Warzone Mobile that I tried once, I think, or something. It was either Warzone or Call of Duty Mobile. I tried once, but I was like, no, this is not a thing that I want to continue to do. So yeah, it was not a thing that would pull me into mobile gaming, just because of all the baggage that comes with it. But yeah, the gameplay model itself was not something I'm into. But it does look interesting from a lore perspective. So I hope there's some kind of, I don't know, big old recap or YouTube video that you can watch that has like really overly produced cutscenes that look super great that I can go and enjoy this in a different way.
Oh, there will be an 8-part 5-hour video that somebody on YouTube makes for you with all the lore from Destiny Rising. Don't you worry.
But I don't want it to be me watching like the dialogue back and forth on this thing.
I don't know. Well, who does the lore videos for Destiny? Because I know VaatiVidya does the stuff for
Bife.
Yeah, I'm sure Bife's gonna make something fun out of this, right?
Chad, as somebody else who loves Destiny, my thing is if I'm home and want to play Destiny,
love Destiny?
I'm gonna play Destiny. You know what I mean? I'm not going to play it on my phone if I'm at home. So like this is a game I'm excited to try eventually once they ever invite me to any sort of testing. Apparently I'm not good looking enough to be invited, but like it'll be cool to have this if I'm traveling or something and don't want to bring, or don't want to remote play my Xbox to my Steam Deck. Chad, how mad is it going to make you when they start implementing some sort of like, hey, if you do this dungeon or this raid in this mobile game, you will unlock X weapon or X catalyst in Destiny 2 or this shader.
He'll start playing it.
Of course Chad, I will play it, but I will also riot.
I know, exactly. That's what I'm saying is like you're the biggest Destiny fan, right? You are like who this game is supposed to be catering to. And if they're not grabbing you, the only way they're going to grab you down the road is by saying, hey, if you want this cool, shiny thing in Destiny 2, you got to do the thing that you got to grind to be able to do in Destiny Rising on your phone. And that's just the way it's going to go. That's going to be the future of this game, is them trying to loophole diehard Destiny 2 fans, Destiny 3 fans, whatever the future of Destiny is, into this game to play it just to get something fancy in the game that they love playing.
Maybe. What gives me a little bit of hope is that even watching the developer documentary that they released right when they announced the game too, is that it is not Bungie developing this game. And it very much feels like it is NetEase developing this game, and they asked Bungie to send them a bunch of assets. Like even they're using like audio from Bungie, like certain things when you get an Ascendant shard or the sound that happens whenever you get one in the regular Destiny game, that is then, or the sound when you level up, that's what it is. The sound when you level up on your season pass in Destiny. That's the sound that they used for, I think, opening a chest in this game. And so it's like, it doesn't feel like it's the Destiny people making this thing. So I don't know how much, aside from like, I don't know, Sony saying, hey, we want more people playing this thing that we own the IP for, so like give them an emblem. It doesn't feel like they're going to plan whole events. It doesn't feel like these teams are talking that much, honestly. So aside from maybe the lore team talking to each other.
One last question for you, Chad. Do you think you would like the gacha mechanics more if the woke mob didn't take the waifus away from your video game?
They already took my guns. Those woke mob took my guns and replaced them with rubber bands and marbles on snare drums and shit. So, no, I'm honestly glad that they're not waifus. No shade to anyone who likes waifus, but I'm just like that's an instant turn off for me for a video game if it's got waifus.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, Destiny Rising, not high on it, but I'll play it when they make me. I'll save this one for last, since I know a lot of us are playing that and I'm really into it. Played more Mario Party Jamboree. This game we unlocked last time we played this. We unlocked like a railroad level, and then I had a friend come over and we played that this weekend. That game's just fun. That game's just fucking fun. So, Sean, if you are a Mario Party fan, or if you got one of the earlier Mario Parties on Switch and you're like, I don't like this, like, this one's good. It's a return to form. You should get this one. What is John McHex? I was like, what is JWH? Just wash your hands? I don't know.
Wash your
No,
hands.
John McHex. We already talked about that at the beginning. Z is for zebra. What the fuck is Z?
These is your list.
I know this is my list. What was Z though?
For those of you that are currently watching or listening in at home, the way that we do this is we have a show notes document where we write down ahead of time things that we want to hit on. And when I joined the podcast, I was like, I'm always going to write out my names in full of everything I've been playing so that it's incredibly obvious what I want to talk about. But Chad and Adam, for whatever reason, always write out everything that they've been playing in abbreviations. And literally to the point that before we were doing this show, Chad was like, hey, I have this thing here written down that's DR. Does anybody know what DR could be? And we're like, oh, I don't know. Destiny Rising, the franchise you play all the time.
What's even funnier is I was like, I know it's not Dead Rising. What is it? Oh, it's Destiny. Yeah, there it is. There it is. So I'll start with N, because I know what
Chad
N
has
is.
a bullet list. Good.
N is Neva. I played Neva, which is the successor, like spiritual successor from the same team who did Grease, which we played for a barf game 3 years ago, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one. It is a great game. It is a great game. Especially if you enjoyed Grease, this is very similar, like platforming, puzzly kind of stuff with beautiful visuals that I think I remember hearing they were all like every single thing is like hand painted or hand drawn, and then they animate that in, or like even the character animations while they are like fighting and things like that are just all sprites basically made of those animations or those illustrations. And the music is fantastic, as you would expect from a game just like Grease. So it's a touching little story for 3.5 hours ish to beat the whole game.
Ooh.
I smiled, I cried, I had a good time. So Neva, fantastic, highly recommend.
You said already that like it's like it provides the same like sense of like emotional catharsis as something like a Grief, for example. But like between the two games, is this game like, would you consider it dramatically better than Gree? Do you think they're on the same level? Like where do you feel like it stacks up against the former game that this team worked on?
This one is a little bit more heady, I guess I would call it. A little bit more abstract in its theme versus Grease, which was, of course, Grease itself was like, obviously the gameplay and all of these things are a metaphor, but like it still felt like at the end you had a pretty straightforward like understanding of what was happening in that game. And I don't want to spoil that because I know Grease is on sale for, honestly, I think it was on sale for like $3 at the launch of Neva, so it might still be on sale. No, it's not Zelda. Thanks for trying though. So yeah, I like the gameplay of Neva more, just a little bit. Especially there were some parts in here. I'll just describe them as mirror parts, where I was like, oh, this is like making my brain think in a way that I haven't, but it's also really fucking cool the way that they're doing this. So yeah, I like the gameplay of Neva a little bit more, but I think I like the story maybe of Grease just a little bit more because it is a little bit more concrete. But of course, Neva,
okay,
the name Neva is about the dog, so it's related to dogs, and therefore I also fucking love that.
Okay. This is, even though people did not vote for me to play this in my barf poll, there's still, I mean, if it's that short and you're recommending it this highly, I feel like it's a game I'll probably check out ahead of Game of the Year. Doesn't feel like, and maybe it's just me, but I remember Gree like getting a lot of accolades at the time of its release, and those accolades carrying to that year's award show. Kind of feels like Neva's moment kind of came and went. Like I'm not really seeing a whole lot of people still vouching for it this far in advance of it coming out, but
yeah, I
mean,
would
we'll
say
see.
it's an incredibly enjoyable experience. I don't feel like it is like blow me away game of the year, surprise me kind of thing, but it is 100% a game worth playing. And I think that, in fact, the whole reason why you're like, oh, no one voted for it, but I might play it anyway, is like, that's why I didn't even put it on my list. It was like, it's short enough. I know I'm going to play it anyway. So like, I'll let somebody else tell me what else to play. So Z is for zombies. So yes, we played COD Black Ops 6, which launched with a new and improved and reworked zombies mode. And we played this on Wednesday because we already have Game Pass because we're playing Gears of Wednesdays. And Joel was not going to be there on Wednesday. Joel's like, oh, I got to go do this thing that my wife set up and blah, blah, blah. And then Matt and Dallas and I were like, well, cool. Well, Joel's not here. We're not going to play Gears. You want to go play zombies instead? And then as soon as we all hop on to play zombies, look who shows up out of nowhere. Joel suddenly doesn't have to be at this thing as long as he thought he was going to be there. And he was there as the moment we started playing zombies. Yeah, we played through a couple of rounds of that. Now, it's a mixture. I think it's not really a mixture of the open world zombies that there was before and then the other type of zombies that is very much about like unlocking different doors. It's not really a mixture, but it is just a larger version, I think, of, I don't remember what game it was attached to, but the previous zombies where it's, you're unlocking doors to get to objectives and then exfiltrating and that kind of stuff. It is a ton of fun. It is, difficult at times. There are all sorts of cool like power-ups. Like there's this lady who shoots lasers out of her eyes. It's like a statue in a comic shop or something like that, and you can turn her on. And there are also videos now that we've seen of like you can warp her into a different area using like some portal gun or something like that, and she like fucking takes out everyone in the church. But yeah, zombies. It's a good ass time. And then we played like a few rounds of multiplayer, and I said, I am sucking at this. Y'all do what you want to do, and I'll leave. But zombies is good. COD Black Ops 6 zombies.
In my defense, I did have a thing on Wednesday. I did go to that thing. We thought we were going to be there much, much longer than we were. And so we walked home, and you guys were getting on zombies, so I joined. And I did say, I'm down to play whatever. I'm getting on now. And you guys were getting on zombies, so...
Yep.
Fucking sue me.
Cool. Chad, is that all you've been up to these past few weeks?
I also watched Venom Let There Be or Venom The Last Dance. And
better than Joker, let me tell you. I watched those back to back. Joker.
I don't know. I think I liked Joker more, but I also saw them both in IMAX and the Joker musical scenes.
Joker's beautifully shot. It's a bullshit movie.
Yeah.
It is a bullshit movie. It's like, what about a movie about how stupid you are and how smart I am for making this movie? Okay. All right, guy. All right.
But yeah, that movie is...
Adam, what have you been up to?
Well, Chad still has a thing on his list, you know?
What have you been up to,
Oh, fuck
Adam?
yeah.
Does he?
Pokemon fucking trading card game Pocket.
Chad has a million fucking things on this list.
PTCGP. Oh my god, yeah. So I picked that up. We were freaking... I had like the pre-download, pre-order thing in the App Store weeks beforehand when they announced it, and then refreshing it like crazy every hour when they're like... They released a trailer like, it's out now. Here's a video to celebrate. And then you couldn't actually download it for like 2 more hours. But holy shit, y'all. On iOS, yeah. 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. the first night. 5 hours. Does nothing but ripping packs, battling bitches. This game has its fucking hooks in me. It is so satisfying to open up a pack and get 5 cards, and it's not as many cards as you wanted to see. And it's just like, well, you know what? You could just like 2 gold, 6 gold. That's all you need. And what is gold? Who knows? What's the currency conversion? Nobody knows. You just do that and you just keep ripping packs and you keep burning through your life savings and then you die. You die a poor person.
Question.
Look at that.
Wow.
Look at that.
How
Adam.
are you getting your XP? Because I find the XP grind to be pretty slow. Are you getting it mostly through battles?
From every pack that you open, you get 25 XP, and then battles give you 15 if you win. And I win almost every battle that I do because I'm amazing. And so Yeah, I rip maybe 3 or 4 packs a day, and then battle probably 5 or 6 times a day. And I usually level up maybe once a day, twice a day, sometimes.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
find that I'm
and
leveling
Have
up
you
pretty
been
slow.
playing?
The rewards, like you would level up and you get Adam, we get it. We get it. You got a bunch of beautiful Pokemon. Thank you.
No, I
Yeah,
have all
we get
three
it,
of
Adam. We
the
get it.
3-star animation EX cards or whatever.
But do you have the 4th secret Mew one? Because
No, I don't have
that's
Mew
part
yet.
of what I love about this game is that there are secrets. There are so many secrets. So yeah,
There's a
Mew
secret
card.
badge.
If you get
There's a secret
all
badge.
of the there's a secret legendary bird badge too. So yeah, if you collect all the Kanto Pokemon, Kanto, give a dog a bone, you get a secret Mew card that has
Kanto.
like that little animation. You could looking through the window, that kind of thing. No, yeah, this game, the loop is so satisfying. The battle, oh my god, the battles in this thing, they're quick enough that you can like, all right, I got 10 minutes before this next meeting, or all right, I'm taking a shit. I can fit in 2 things before people start to ask questions about where I am. I'm walking the dog. I can probably fit in 2 battles here. So they're short, they're satisfying. It is a lot of the rule set apparently of the trading card game without like being overly cumbersome, and it just feels great. And you level up and you get enough hourglasses to rip a few more packs and wonder picks, and you don't ever get the thing that you want from the wonder picks, but you spend the money anyway, or you spend your hourglasses anyway, and it's so satisfying. It's great.
I got to look up the meta decks because I just use like auto generated decks and I lose so many battles. But then I see the fucking people who queue up with the Mewtwo decks with the like Gardevoir that is
That's
just constantly feeding energies, and I gotta make one of those.
I got one that I made with the Mewtwo and Gardevoir. So Gardevoir is just like constantly giving you energy while also having a Caterpie. So I have a Caterpie, a Metapod, and a Butterfree in that deck too. And the Caterpie allows you to, instead of like doing damage when you attack, you randomly find another grass Pokemon and put it into your hand. So if the only grass Pokemon I have are the ones that lead me to Butterfree, which allows me to heal everyone 20 points every round. So you get that going in there. You don't even put any fucking grass energy in your fucking deck, dude. Save that all for Mewtwo, all psychic shit. So yeah, I've got one of those, and then I've got another one that I've been using that is, it's a Gyarados deck. You're looking to get Gyarados. So I've got 2 Magikarp Gyaradoses, and then I've got Krabby and Kingler, because those are secret little, like, they'll fuck you up kind of things.
They're real
and
good.
The Articuno X. And then in that I have Pidgey. So similar to how I had the Caterpie over there, I have a Pidgey all the way up to Pidgeot that lets you, like, it forces the user to swap out whoever's in their active slot. And of course, like the Gardevoir and the Pidgeys, like those don't even have to be in the active slot of your thing. You can use them from your deck or from your bench without even needing to have energy attached to them. So that's what I did. I looked for whatever Pokemon have those little like passive abilities that you can use once a turn, and I'm like, all right, let me work a deck around those things, and that shit rips.
I will say, Chad
I want
already
to do
knows
another
this,
one around
but
the Pikachu, but
I think that the event thing right now is so fucking rigged. I've opened so many of those wonder picks and gotten 0 chances and about 15 Meowths. And
I honestly thought it was, I hated it because I was done in like 4 minutes. Like I got the Chanseys and the Meowths, and I got everything you could buy with those special event tickets in like less than 10 minutes. I was like, well, now what do I do?
Yeah, you can only buy 3 things. They're not very hard.
I'm not going to go spend wonder fucking currency on any more of these.
But Joel's
Chansey
right. I don't have a
picks, 'cause
single
got everything.
Chansey. I've got a shitload of Meowths. I don't have a single Chansey though from that event.
Damn, y'all just got to get good.
No, I don't
get
care
good
that
at
much.
that random chance. Speaking of random chance, there is a secret. There is a secret, and it seems like it is pretty reliable. As you're picking your packs,
it's not reliable at all.
That's not real.
Honestly, no. I've been using it, and
this
it
thing?
is like probably 70-80% of the time it works.
Chad, I've done it with every pack I've opened since I sent you guys that video and
that's
Twitter,
Joel luck.
and I've
You don't have any
never
chances.
gotten one.
Joel, look.
You don't have
No,
any chances.
What I did here though is
But the
that
bent
somebody
corner, baby.
clicked on like you hit open pack, then they closed the app. Their friend had Wonder Pick. So they didn't scroll through or anything, but their friend had a Wonder Pick, and when they actually went back and reloaded, it was exactly what was in the Wonder Pick. So once you hit open pack, it's sort of predetermined what you're getting. You don't even need to scroll through them. It doesn't matter.
I don't know how much I trust that until I try it myself.
Try it.
I'm gonna make an alt account on my iPad.
But here's the thing:
we're gonna do
when you
some
click
science.
on open 10 packs, guaranteed to get something good.
That open 10 packs is very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Do it.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Oh, it is just a rush.
And now that I've unlocked so many cards, it's the only way I'm going to get any new cards.
I'm at the point now where I need like 10 to 12 cards to complete my collection, and I'm opening up my free packs throughout the day. Maybe I'll spend like a couple gold per day on it, but then I'm using my pack points to like target isolate specific cards that I need for certain quests to get me more hourglasses or the Mew card or whatever it might be.
I'm incredibly sorry that the fine folks that, worked on Concord had to, endure what they endured over the past few months. But I feel like we probably need to retitle this episode like Pokemon Card Game Pocket has just taken over our lives.
I would say our
because
lives.
holy shit, I knew that like everybody here had a little bit of love for the Pokemons inside them, but like I have not even touched this game, and I am intending to touch this game. And you guys are all the way already down the rabbit hole.
You got to get your fingers all over this game, Cozy.
Yeah.
Also, my thing is
all over it.
Is in the Pokemon TCG in real life, when you crack a pack, you get a code card. I'm showing it to you guys. The stream can't see it, but I have stacks and stacks of these code cards from the hundreds of packs I've opened that I have not used in the online game. At what point are they going to make the code
Those
cards
work in Pocket?
They do not work in Pocket. But at some point in the future, I have to imagine these code cards are going to transition to give you something in Pocket. I don't think it's going to be opening a pack. It might be something like you might get, I don't know, one of the shop credits or a hourglass or something per thing, but they're going to want to drive people to this app as opposed to the old trading card online game, because that old game probably isn't making them nearly as much money as this new game is about to start generating for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that would be huge. I have a lot of those cards as well, so it'd be good to finally have a use for them.
I will give it a one negative. Not a negative, because I've been playing it as well. I'm having fun with it. And again, it's just fun opening packs. I don't really care about Pokemon like at all. But it's fun to open packs. I will say that the battles, I do like how it's simplified.
It's fun to spend 300 hours in this game I don't care about.
No, I didn't spend that. Here's the thing, though. I had basically everything unlocked within like level 8. Like it's not hard. At the beginning, they're just giving you hourglasses like it's fucking candy. Yeah. They don't give a shit. So it's very easy to get going at the beginning.
That's how I was. I can't spend 5 hours again in this game. Like I spent my 5 hours up front the first night, and I was like, cool. I can check back in,
and I have nothing left to
3 minutes,
collect.
and then I can battle someone, or I could spend money and spend 3 more minutes.
Yeah, but I will say that so I like how they simplify where, again, I haven't played actual Pokemon TCG in forever, but it's like you only have 3 benches and 1 active, which I believe is truncated from the normal game, right? I will say, even though it's supposed to be a quicker, faster version, I feel like it still does take a little too long. Like, I'm so used to playing so much Marvel Snap, and legitimately, a Marvel Snap game cannot go longer than 2 minutes, and I'm like, dragging the energy, click on the guy, let him do his animation where he jumps up and slaps down. Oh, the character's turn, they draw a card. It's a little bit slow. That's the only negative I have. But the actual battles are like, you speed up by like 0.1%, and I think I would be happy. But outside of that, it's been fun to play these games. I don't know any of the meta too. Chad's talking about get this card. I'm just like, I hit autocomplete. It's like, yeah, throw my cool Charizard in there. I guess I'm playing a fire deck with Charizard because I'm also haven't played against people. I've just played against computer. So it is what it is. But yeah, pretty good game. I've enjoyed it. Chad, I think it was your whole list, right?
Yeah, that's my whole list. Cool.
Yeah. All right, Adam. Chad spent conservatively an hour talking about Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, so I'm expecting at least 2.
We haven't even recorded for an hour.
Nary 3 from you.
No, yeah, I mean, just piggybacking off his Pokemon thing, I've already done that. Call of Duty, I've also played that. It's the first one I've played since 2020. I think Warzone was the last time I played it. I don't know if the last time I played an actual, pay for this Call of Duty game. Done a 360 era probably. Having a ton of fun, man. Apparently this is a good one if you haven't played in a while to come back to, because campaign's good, zombies are good, multiplayer's good.
Did you beat the campaign, Adam?
I'm on the very last mission.
Oh,
So
yeah,
need to
I
finish
beat
that
it
one
the
up.
other day. That's like all I did Saturday, and I love that campaign. I thought it was
Oh, so
awesome.
fun. Yeah, very
It felt
good.
like I was playing an 80s action movie. It was a
Yeah.
great time.
and
And it
gorgeous.
has
Bill Clinton.
some supernatural stuff going on in there as well, so
It's a good level.
pretty interesting.
The weird shit is good. Yeah, that's a very good campaign. Again, if you're gonna pick a year to like, hey, this is like on Game Pass, this is a whatever, we're gonna make a big push. This is the year to do it because that game absolutely rules. And zombies is a ton of fun. So yeah, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, play that. It's a good game. Next up, Dragon Age: The Beetlegard. This is the game I was saying earlier.
God.
Ah,
What it was is there's a show when we were kids called Big Bag Beetleborgs, right? Which was like it's like a Power Rangers like show where it's just like kids that like get little beetle suits and then they get in big beetle mechs and fight people. Google Big Bad Beetleborgs if you've never heard of it. But for some reason in my head when I was like, oh, the Veil Guard, that sounds like Beetlegard. I don't know how I did that. But yeah, Dragon Age Veil Guard is very good. I've put came out on Halloween. It is now 5 days after Halloween. I've probably played that game for 20 hours. I fucking love that game. That game is straight up. They're like, hey, what if we did... I think they fixed every issue that I had with Inquisition, and then they just doubled down on all the good BioWare stuff. Because this game's all about your characters and companions, which is BioWare's always their best thing. The way that they tell these stories and like progress through the side quests with the characters is so good. I just got my 4th party member out of like 8 total. And I've already put 20 hours in because I'm just fucking around with these idiots, having a great time. The actual game is improved. I love the gameplay. It's more like action RPG than it was like whatever the original game was. I guess like not turn-based, but it was like active time battle, whatever the Final Fantasy named that. And it's much more God of War-ish, not Dark Souls in the way that it's that hard, but as in like it's an action RPG now. And then even the way that they do level design, because the whole thing about Inquisition was that the first area you get to is a massive open world and people will spend 30 hours on the first level of the video game. And now they're like, no, we have big areas, but they're more like, we're going to send you through tunnels of this cool area you can go off and explore, but then like there's a stopping point and then they open up stuff later. So it's like, we have a big area, but we're giving you small pieces and we give it to you piecemeal so you don't get overwhelmed with giant open world. It's very, very good. And yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Legitimately, I'm adoring that game, and I don't want it to end. I'm doing everything, all the side stuff, hanging out with all the hot. But they also give you all women to start as your the first 3 party members you get are all women. They're like, oh man, this is gonna be tough because I'm flirting with everybody, every single one of them.
The veil guard, like a wedding veil. You're just getting married to a bunch of women wearing wedding dresses.
Yep. I mean, the first person is the dwarf lady Harding. Definitely would. So I am. We'll see where that goes.
Making you Harding, am I right, boys?
Scout
Beetle
my
Hard.
master, Beetle. Yes, very good. No, Velgar's great. And again, that combat is way better than I would have expected it to be. So check that out. Again, like
Big Bad
legitimately,
Beetleborgs?
yeah,
I have heard the name before in my life, but I have never seen imagery from it.
yeah. No, it's just Power Rangers, but not.
Never expected it to be this.
Yeah,
Which is
Equally as racist as Power
with
Rangers too.
Beetle things on their head.
Yeah.
yeah. Not to be confused with tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills.
they made a bunch of stupid shit after Power Rangers came out, and they were like, "Yeah, let's just put all these words together."
It's even the same company. How do you say this? Saban? Saban?
Saban, yeah, Saban. I think that's right.
Saban? Yeah. They made Beetleborgs and Power Rangers. All right.
The what's the guy in the tube from Power Rangers? What's his name?
Zordon.
The Zordon in Big Bag Beetleborgs is a guy who looks exactly like Jay Leno. So
yeah, he's
just
got the blue face and just Jay Leno's black hair and the giant chin.
And his big chin. Yeah, it's really crazy. But Beetleguard. Everyone check out Dragon Age Beetleguard. It's very good. Called it. And the last thing I did, so I haven't played this game a ton. I got it for review, so I'm going to jump more into that. But it's Kingdom 2 Crown, Call of Olympus. So I've played Kingdom Crowns, 2 Crowns before. It's like a 2D kind of like base builder, but like you're fighting monsters and stuff. Like yeah. By the way, I love the art style, Joel, showing it on screen, where like there's always that reflection on the bottom part of the screen.
Kingdom 2 Crowns, TWO Crowns.
Yeah, 2 crowns, as in there are multiple of them.
Cool,
but it's like a strategy game where you build up like a town builder kind of a thing, but you're fighting off this evil monster force. Again, I'm only like 20 or 30 minutes in, but I played it forever ago. And then the DLC just came out, which is all based on Greek mythology. So you're dealing with, Mount Olympus and the Greek gods and stuff like that. So again, I'm very early
in games.
Do what now?
I've killed them before in games.
Greek gods, yeah. I've killed a couple, romanced a couple too. So yeah, I'm very early in, but that game is cool and I love that art style. It's that pixel art, but there's always that water reflecting in the bottom of the screen, which is really cool. So I will play more of Kingdom 2 Crown Call of Olympus, but I will say at the beginning, I like that game. I'm glad to see what it looks like with Greek gods. There you go.
Cool.
That's it.
And from there, I will transition into a little bit of what I have been playing over the past few weeks, which is mostly games that the two of you are familiar with as games that I've played, one of which is new to the Cozy household. I have been playing a fair bit of Metaphor ReFantazio. I have not still beaten it yet. I've discovered that I have a bit of a complicated relationship with this game because as great as it is, as genuinely great as Metaphor ReFantazio it is a game that I find to be very stressful to play. This game's story is great, combat's great, everything about it for the most part is great, but I find that I'm oftentimes just plagued by a terrible anxiety over how to spend my time playing it, because the way this game works, much like the Persona series, is every single day you're given a variety of options of things to do, people to interact with, social links to level up, and you can only do so many things in a day, and you only have so many days before the next major plot beat happens. And I'm the kind of person that always feels guilty when I'm not able to spend as much time with certain characters as I want to. There will be this thing where you'll be interacting with a character, a dialogue option that will come up that will be like, hey, do you want to spend some time with me? And there will be a clock icon next to it indicating, hey, this will pass time. And so many times I've been like, man, I really want to spend time with you, but I also really want to run this dungeon and complete this one objective. And so I have to decline. And it so breaks my heart when the character in question's like, oh, well, I guess next time. And so, yeah, combine that with the fact that this is a game where I really feel like I always have to lock in whenever I'm playing it. This is not a game that I can just sort of play casually on the side, like a Vampire Survivors, for example. This is a game I have to fully be paying attention to whenever I'm engaged with it. Definitely contributes to just some of the existential stress that I sometimes experience while I'm in the middle of it, but it still continues to be great. I'm looking forward to finally playing it. To be honest, I've been honestly dragging my feet a little bit, and I really do want to make a point. I'm saying it right here, right now. By the end of November, I will have completed this game. Not necessarily platinumed it, but I will be roughly done with it by the end.
We've heard this before.
And so, yeah. I mean, is there like a specific game that comes to mind where you're like, oh,
me talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth?
Yeah, well, that was one too. I will say, Cozy, again, I don't know, but I've heard multiple reviewers be like, I was worried I wasn't going to do all the side stuff. Because in Persona, you literally have to do very specific things, or you can't like do everything in the game. I heard this game's not as punishing in that. They were like, we didn't have, guides because we were all reviewing it, and we still did all the side stuff. So I don't know how much that helps you, but apparently they did it without knowing what to do on each day, and they all finished it out just fine. So maybe don't stress about hanging out with your friends.
That's good to hear. Moving on from Metaphor ReFantazio, I have also been continuing to play a lot of Vampire Survivors. I've not posted about this on Twitter because typically when I complete a major feat in a video game or I beat a game, I'll usually add it to my ongoing list of things I've done this year in gaming. But I actually have platinumed and gotten every single trophy in Vampire Survivors outside of the trophies tied to the game's 2 DLC packs, which are Legacy of the Moonspell and Tides of the Foscari, which I'll be getting to those at some point in the near future. I did play. There were no trophies attached to this particular DLC pack. I just thought it would be fun to dive into it. The Emergency Meeting DLC pack, which is the Among Us collaboration pack with Vampire Survivors. Pretty fun. Some pretty interesting ways that they adapted the Among Us Spaceful to the game. I definitely, at this rate, I probably will check out the Contra and Castlevania packs at some point, although those unfortunately have no trophies attached to them. Their whole thing with the game and the DLC packs is they're like, we're not attaching any trophies to any DLC packs that could theoretically be removed at some point because of licensing contractual issues. So only the like non-collab DLC packs have trophies attached to them. What are you laughing at so much, Adam? What you laughing at?
You're not my real dad. Oh man, I'm sorry, Cozy. Please continue. Someone is arguing in our document as if like they're a teenage kid yelling at their stepdad, and I'm dying. I don't know who was typing, but it's funny as shit.
I've been looking at my own notes. I've not been in the RAF show notes. What the hell is going on here?
By the way, when you were talking about the Vampire Survivor stuff, is the Castlevania one out yet? I don't know if you mentioned that one.
Yeah, it came out on October 31st.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's out for a few days now. Thing is like, while I will still continue to play a fair bit of Vampire Survivors over the course of the next few weeks of the year, by and large, my time with this game has largely wound down to a close, which brings me to the next game that I've recently gotten addicted to. It's a little game. I don't know if you've heard of this one, Adam, by the name of Balatro. Now, this is a game that I've been meaning to check out for some time now. And also, Adam, to drop all the jokes, this was a Adam's pick game. I said at the beginning of the year that Adam could choose 3 games that I was required to play, and this was one of the picks. And so I was definitely incentivized to do so at some point. I'm not typically the kind of person that games a lot on mobile outside of Pokemon Go. When they announced this game was coming to mobile, I was like, maybe I'll pick it up there. Maybe that would be a good way to finally get into this. Was a little bit apprehensive though, because I'm like, I kind of want a bit of a bigger screen to play it on, but also I'm not especially incentivized to play this on PlayStation 5 because I know that from a trophy perspective, this is not the kind of thing that you're going to platinum easily. So I ended up getting it on Switch, which so far, by the way, runs great. I know that like some people be like, why not just get it on PlayStation 5? But like for a game like this, which is not really pushing the hardware, it's like pretty much identical. And yeah, not surprisingly, this game is very addictive. I've already logged 25 hours into it and counting. It was definitely a little initially tough to wrap my head around the rules of the game. I'm not somebody who, like, I've definitely at some point in the past been taught, okay, this is how you play poker. This is how you play all these various card games. And it's just in one ear, out through the other. Definitely took a little bit of time to warm up, figure out the rules of this. And once everything clicked into place, this game has really started to sing, and it has kept on singing. I love all the card art and abilities of the Jokers, all the creative ways that they come up with concepts of what can even be a Joker card. Obviously, you have the standard Jimbo card, which is currently being displayed on screen on the video version of this podcast. And then the ways that they subvert that are like, oh, hey, here's a Jimbo card that's been ripped in half that gives you this very specific modifier. Here's a to-do list. Here's a like parking ticket. This game is just so incredibly creative and full of personality in a way that I would never have really anticipated, in addition to being this really like addictive, unique card building experience.
If only someone had told you in February.
Well, I finally got around to it. I finally got around to it within the year in which
I couldn't imagine this game would be good that Adam said was good. The fuck out of here.
Okay.
No, I'm glad you like it, though. 25 hours is very impressive. That was me, too. I was like, oh, it's been a week and I've played 20 hours of this video game. That's wild. So,
you know, my one complaint is a great game. It is a great game with a very satisfying loop. My one complaint is that there's nothing... I can't stop comparing it to Inscription. But there's nothing like Inscription that, like, narratively is keeping me playing this game. There's no, like, oh, I might figure out the mystery of who the fuck created these Jokers, or what's the magical behind that possess this deck, or whatever. Like, it's just like, it's a good loop, and you play it because it's addicting gameplay. And I just wish there was something else pulling me forward outside of that. But
like the Pokemon TCG narrative, right? Like
right. Well, for that one, there's a little checklist going on there. There's a secret new card I got to get. But after I beat the one thing it was keeping track of in that game, where it's like 8 antes, congratulations, you did it.
There's more, cool. Chad. There's more. You play with the different deck types now, baby.
I played with like 3 deck types, and it was like, cool.
I love Inscription. I love all its narrative trappings, but I genuinely do appreciate how like comparatively pure this game is, where it's like there is no story to be concerned with. It is just pure gameplay pretty much for the most part, outside of the weird meta narratives of the Joker cards. It's the perfect kind of game for me when I'm like, I just want to zone out with a podcast or something like that and not have to worry too much about paying attention to the story. So I don't mind that particularly. A small complaint, however, that I have, and this barely factors into like overall my love of this game, but I don't like the fact that the L and R button icons are reversed in this game. I don't know, like, I did like a little bit of research online, and I don't know if this is like maybe just a Switch specific issue, but like for whatever reason, like the L and R icons are reversed so that like something that you press with the L button has like the icon of what would be the R button, and reverse for the R button and LR button and RR button and whatever. I don't know. It's unfortunately we don't have like footage of this very specific thing I'm describing, but it's always something that confuses me whenever we go to the store. And it's like, do you want to purchase this card or do you want to purchase and use this card? And it's like, I want to purchase and use this card, but the icon looks like the L button when it should be the R button. And anyway, so it's really confusing. But all that aside,
problem on mobile.
all that aside,
yeah, like the Switch version is the worst version to play. I don't know, bud.
I mean, it's basically pretty much identical. So I
don't have any L and R button problems. I'll just say that.
I don't have any L and R buttons.
I would genuinely be fascinated. I should check out footage of the other games of this and like bring this back to the court next week to see what you guys have to say, because it's a bizarre issue.
I believe you. I'm just saying I didn't have that because I don't play on Switch.
Know. Okay, well, we'll see about that. And with that, we have arrived at the end of playtime for this week, and holy shit, those are a lot of notes. A lot of notes that people have been randomly writing into the RAF show notes document, which means it is time for a segment from Adam. Chad, sing us a ditty.
Segment from Adam. I don't know what that was.
He sprung a leak.
I was completely caught off guard, and my Vita guard was caught off, and that's what you got.
Thank you, Chad. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
So
you're
from
welcome.
Adam, this week, we're going to go through the best games of October and do a little check-in on Fantasy Critic as if we need to.
It's a good week for me. I mean, good month for me.
It was a pretty good month for Chad. Number one, Metaphor Fantasio with a 94. These are all Metacritic scores. up to 80 for the month. Very good. Neva at an 86.
Ooh, Zex and Oxy.
Silent Hill 2, the remake by Beluber Team, also at an 86. Forgive Me Father 2, 85. Don't know what it is, but it got a high score. So there we are.
Just from the name of it, I am imagining it is the sequel game, similar to how Goonies got Goonies 2 as a video game rather than a movie. It is a sequel game to the fictional, was it Robert Downey Jr. movie? It was a trailer that played at the beginning of Tropical Thunder.
Oh, Tropical Thunder?
Tropical Thunder, where he's like, I've been a bad, bad boy, father. Like, that's what I feel like this is.
I would love that if that's what it was. Black Ops 6 at an 84. Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Batman Arkham Shadows, the VR game, at an 84. Dragon Age The Feudal God, also at an 84. Fear the Spotlight at an 84. That's the first Blumhouse produced game. Mario Party Jamboree at an 82. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero at an 81, and Sonic Cross Shadow Generation at an 80. There are a lot of video games on this thing.
Yeah.
So I would say probably half this list should be considered for Game of the Year stuff. Like, legitimately. Like,
mostly just Forgive Me Father 2.
Especially Forgive Me Father 2. I watched that game actually be like fucking like really, really great. We're just giving it a hard time.
I'm going to Google some pickies of it now.
Figure out what it is. But yeah, I would say pick anything on that list. You'll have a good time. We're playing most of those games for Game of the Year stuff at this point, but I would not be shocked to see.
Forgive Me Father 2 looks like it's I don't know, people have like fucking tentacle faces wearing, they look like World War II soldiers.
Wearing
like gas masks and shit, but then they have also tentacles coming out of their face.
Cthulhu and World War I?
Zombies and werewolves.
I like
people carrying around heads. This game actually looks fucking dope.
I know. Every time we don't know what it is, but it's review side, we're like, oh shit, this game looks great. So I love that for them.
Watch this be only fucking PC.
Probably. But all right, that is it. Now moving on, Joel. Let me see, Joel, if this pops up for you. You don't. I don't know, brother. You got to tell me. I'm giving Joel a link.
Yeah, it's PC only. Son of a bitch.
Let me know if that works. But we're going to move on to our Fantasy Critic League. We're here at the end of the year. A lot of the scores are lining up. A lot of the people who are going to win are going to win. A lot of people who are going to lose, and maybe can come in second place. Starting up at number one. Not number one, first on the list. Cozy Deer Productions LLC, the least interesting name on the list. You have one game left. Well, technically, you have 2 games. Okay, so things that came out this month, you had Echoes of Wisdom got you 15 points from last month. Diablo 4 Veteran of Hatred got you 14 points. Phoenix Springs got you 8 points. Mario and Luigi Brothership is currently a 79, but you don't have points yet, but you'll probably get about 9 or 10 points when that fully posts. And then you'll have Indiana Jones and the Great Circle left. So guessing you'll probably end up at about maybe 120, 125, or no, about 130, 135 at the most. If
I was going to say, yeah.
Good. So, Cozy, I mean, your year's basically over. How are you feeling about this team?
Yeah, I mean, this is like, here's the thing. Like, putting aside all the shenanigans of the, fantasy critic aside, like this year, when we get to the end of this year and we talk about, like, when we reflect on, what were our overall thoughts on 2024, I feel like 2024 has kind of been defined by upsets and games just not hitting as hard as you expected them to hit. And I'm not saying this because I am kind of cantankerous about not doing as well as I should have, although I am, 5% there. But like, yeah, looking at this list, I'm like, there are a lot of games here where like, I feel like I was totally justified in going for them. And certainly they didn't do terribly, but it's like, man, everyone this was kind of an off year. And, unfortunately there's not much else to be said.
I think the main thing that people need to remember is that like, getting Metacritic and OpenCritic scores are tough to get. People are like, oh, I like this game, so it must be a 10 out of 10. And like, there aren't 10 out of 10 games. Like, there is not games that are like 97s like every other month. Like that doesn't, you get like maybe one game a year that does that, right? So a lot, like whenever I do a Fantasy Critic, I'm like, oh, if this game hits an 80, I'm good. Because that's a good score. That's like, you have a very good game and you're getting good points. Like, I'm not saying you think this, but a lot of people are like, well, I like that game, and so it should be like a 96. I'm like, games don't get scores like that. With the amount of reviewers we have nowadays, that just doesn't happen. There's too many reviewers to move the thing
to be critical of myself and not just be like, it's the fault of everyone else for failing and not my own fault. I will say, when I had to rejigger my list a couple of months earlier because a bunch of games were no longer coming out, I rechose a couple of different games. I rechose Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred, and I rechose an indie game called Phoenix Springs, which I chose because very low on the radar, and everybody that had played it at preview events was like, oh my God, one of the best indie games of all time. Got a 78 on Metacritic, which I think just, it's a lesson in like, just goes to show, just because like everyone is like ranting and raving about it is like, oh man, what a perfect artistic pristine indie. You gotta, if you actually want to win Fantasy Critic, you actually got to be thinking strategically about, well, what are the games that are actually going to bring home the bacon in this regard?
Yeah, because you have to think who's actually reviewing the video game and how many people are reviewing the video game. That's what actually matters. You're playing a game of reviewers, not of the game's quality, even though that's a part of it.
Yeah, and and separate those from like the weird art house indie games that could be kind of good, but mostly are just going to get 7 out of 10s, and people are going to be like, oh man, it's okay.
Not enough reviews to even post because it's like 2 people reviewed it. That happens all the time with those anime games.
Yeah.
Moving on to a much better name though, Boobysoft. Chad.
Ooh, what a good name.
Chad recently, he has 88 points at the moment. Still has 3 games.
Still got a couple solid games in there.
Only 2 of them are going to come out, but there's.
I literally am not out of this game yet. Like,
no, not yet. Technically,
there could be some upsets over in Cozy Bear Productions LLC.
You did have a major score in Metaphor Fantasio, getting you 25 points, which is a big. That was a 92 on OpenCritic. What are the other ones? Really, what screwed you, I think, was Nintendo. Age. You got Neva and Dragon Age, so you got a lot of points in the last month. I would say the biggest letdown for you is Nintendo.
Yeah, fucking Princess Peach coming out here and fucking me in the beginning of the year, giving me herpes. And then Mario comes along with Donkey Kong and says, you know what, we don't want to touch anyone with herpes. We'll give you 6 points. And then Senua's like, I'll fuck you with herpes, but I'm not very good at it. And give me 11 points. And then everyone else afterwards is like, all right, you're no longer symptomatic. So let's have sex and make it good. And here's the 12s, the 17s, and the 25s.
I like how one more point is good sex.
Yeah. Well, there's a very fine line you walk.
Yeah, I get it. But you still have Marvel Rivals and Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D, and then Metal Gear Solid Delta, which is not coming out this year.
We have not heard definitively that it is not coming out this year.
It's November, still ain't giving us a date.
We've not heard definitively.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Marvel Rivals is going to do very well, and I think Dragon Quest is going to also do very, very well. So
maybe you can catch up to Cozy.
I might be in this still.
And then last, what's left of Embracer? That's my team. Still sitting at 150 points. Nothing new on the list, but I do have 2 games. Rise of the Golden Idol finally got a date for November, and then Microsoft Flight Simulator is also November. Hollow Knight Silksong, the only one, probably not going to come out this year, so I'll probably take a 0 there. If I'm lucky, I hit over 170 for the year. We'll see what happens, but
yeah,
good times. That's my segment.
And that is segment from Adam. Chad, sing him a ditty to play him out.
Boobies. That's it.
And that was segment from Adam. I'm going to say, how are you guys feeling? Are you feeling like you can go for another 10 minutes or so? Or are we feeling a little worn out, a little spent from all this podcasting?
I do have a game on game show. It's kind of short if we wanted to finish out with that.
You know what? I had a segment in store, but I feel like the segment I have in store is kind of not dissimilar to a lot of things that we've already been touching on so far in the podcast. It also made a little bit more sense when we were originally planning on doing our podcast last week. We will nix the segment from Cozy I had planned, and we will be doing a game on game show from Chad instead. Take it away, Chad.
Game show. The game on game show. We play a game called Game On, the gaming show on a game show. Game. We are playing a returning segment called. I had intended to come up with a newer name for it, but now this is going down in history as just the name for it. ESRB game. That's the game.
ESRB game.
So we played this previously, looking at particularly Xbox first party games on Game Pass. I will read you the rating. If you need help, well, no, I'll read you the rating with the a portion of the description, and you all will try to guess the game. The theme this time, easy theme, spooky games that came out in October of this year.
October this year, okay.
October this year, so in the last 4.5 weeks. I have 4 games here, and the rules are you just say the name of the game when you think you know the name of the game. You can interrupt me. You can throw a plate at the wall, and I will respond to the shatter sound. Whatever it is. And you have only 11 guesses per game.
What very specific amount of guesses.
On your own. Yeah. All right, here we go. First game, rated M for mature.
Okay.
The game contains... I switched to my N's and my M's. The game contains some suggestive / sexual material. Characters pole dancing in strip club settings. Posters of women in revealing outfits, e.g. bra and thong, deep cleavage. Dialogue alluding to sexuality and or sexual abuse / misconduct, e.g. remember that time in the hotel you said you took everything, but you forgot that videotape we made. Don't touch me. You only after one thing, or you could just force me like he always did. The word
Silent
shit
Hill 2
appears in the game. It is Silent Hill 2.
That game's all about sexual abuse, right? I believe.
Is it? I have no idea.
I think that's one of the undertones. I've never played it, but I think the undertone of that game is like someone got sexually abused. I'm not.
That actually,
right. Silent Hill 2.
I mean, that makes perfect sense that that's Silent Hill 2. I was about to joke that this is something that Chad made up so that he could do a weird voice, but yeah, that's what it was. Silent Hill 2.
All right, so Adam has 1 point. Game number 2, rated T for teen. Combat can be frenetic at times, accompanied by light effects, impact sounds, and cries of pain. Some areas depict small blood stains on the ground. A cutscene depicts a character stabbed in the hand with an accompanying blood spatter effect. The word shit appears in the game, and one character holds up a raised middle finger.
Beetleguard.
This is not Beetleguard.
Is it Dragon Age Veilguard?
It is not Dragon Age Veilguard.
Okay, I didn't know if you were going to...
That's 2 of your 11 guesses.
Yeah, I know. People get stabbed in the hand. There's a little bit of blood. Batman Arkham Shadow?
This is Batman Arkham Shadow. Congratulations. You have 2 points out.
Oh.
That's a very Batman thing to do. Stab a person in the hand, but but not be mature.
And then raise a middle finger.
Well, you can
All
do
right.
that anytime with VR.
3 out of 4. Rated M for mature. Large blood splatter effects occur as characters are killed or injured. Bloodstains also appear in the environment and around corpses. The game includes sexual material in the dialogue, e.g., let's party like we're fucking porn stars. I mean, if you're not going to bang her, we are going to have sex. Players can flip through a Kama Sutra book.
There's not one long quote.
Those are all 3 different quotes. Players can flip through a Kama Sutra book depicting illustrations of sexual positions with descriptions. One scene depicts a woman performing a striptease for a man, removing her clothes down to her undergarments. The word fuck appears in the game.
Sonic Shadow Generations.
Call of Duty.
It is not Sonic Shadow. It is not Call of Duty.
No? You don't get to root through Bill Clinton's desk in that game?
No, he only shows up for a small period. Is it Fear the Spotlight?
It is not Fear the Spotlight. Although I looked on the website, ESRB does not have an entry for Fear the Spotlight, although it is
Interesting.
rated.
A horror game that came out in October that has
Would you like a
undergarments.
clue?
Yeah, sure.
This is a reverse licensed game. You know how a game can be licensed on a movie or a TV show?
Uh-huh.
There is an upcoming movie about this game, or based on this game.
Outlast?
Until Dawn, the remake.
It is
Remastered.
Until Dawn, the remake.
Until Dawn.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
I forgot that came out this month. Everyone did.
Yep. Yep. All right. The last game, rated M for mature. Cutscenes depict instances of violence. A character attacked and thrown by a creature. A character shot off screen during a scuffle. One prolonged sequence involves players riding in the back of a vehicle and shooting alien creatures. Players can encounter human corpses, sometimes depicted with blood stains. Blood also appears on the wall and the ground. The word fuck appears in the game.
Wall and the ground. I like how they went through that entire game. They're like, you have to point out that it's on the wall and on the ground. A game where you shoot aliens.
And the word fuck appears in it.
And it has the word fuck.
Alan Wake 2, the Lake House expansion.
That is not Alan Wake 2, the Lake House.
I mean, I know, is it not Call of Duty Black Ops 6?
It is not Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
That's not aliens, but ESRB doesn't know their difference. What is a spooky game that came out that has shooting and aliens in it? Is there any clues, Chad?
This is a licensed game.
Oh, Quiet Place.
This is A Quiet Place, The Road Ahead. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh.
the Quiet Place video game. Yeah.
All right. That means, Adam, you have what, 3 points? Because
Yep.
you have 1. Congratulations, Adam. Winner of the game.
I didn't even use all my 11 guesses either. Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. You didn't have to dive deep into that 11 guesses. Well, that's it for Game on Game Show. And that is it for episode 100,000. And I'm going to turn it over to Cozy to close us out.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you for not stealing my spotlight at the end there. A huge thank you once again to everyone for tuning in to this installment of the Respawning Fire podcast. If you're not watching this live, you should know that new episodes of the podcast stream live on twitch.tv/AffableIdiots every Monday at 5:30 p.m. PST/8:30 p.m. EST. And if you are watching this live, you should know that episodes are published to YouTube and podcast services every Wednesday after they live debut. As mentioned at the top of the show, remember that we need you to vote on Adam's end of the year barf poll. You can do so on Twitter at RespawningFire and on Patreon at patreon.com/RespawnAimFire. And of course, you can look forward to our barf review of John Wick Hex popping up on our YouTube channel in the near future as well. Adam Gumbert, is there anything that you would like to plug before we close out this episode?
No.
Plug that butt.
I'm trying to think. Have I done anything? No. We just had our stuff. I haven't been on a podcast recently. I mean, Great Game Debate. That one's out now. I talked about it before, but it's out now. So I guess go listen to that. Great Game Debate. I debate Western strategy games versus Japanese RP or strategy games. Japanese versus Western strategy games. Adam talked about them.
Cool. Chad, anything that you've been up to?
Your butt. Oh no, I got nothing.
Cool. Joel, anything that you've been up to that you want to plug?
Nope. Other than I plan to start
JavaClanOrg.com.
streaming more. JavaClanOrg.com.
Hell yeah. And you did a great job on this episode, by the way. I know we had a few difficulties here and there, but you did a great job, and I just want to let you know that. And with that, we out. Goodbye. So long. Sayonara. Be sure to vote. Many more ways than one. Joel, I hope that you've closed out the episode by now.
I was just gonna wait for
Because if
Cody
not,
to
this is
keep
going to
going.
be
Is it
really,
stopping?
this is going to be really, really awkward.